on WNYC. So the murder was obviously shocking. President Trump's reaction to the murder was obviously shocking. But let's remember Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele Singer Reiner, who had a significant career of her own and were both murdered in their home over the weekend, presumably by their son, so it seems. So listeners, what was your favorite Rob Reiner movie or other thing that he did? Who else wants to remember Rob Reiner for anything else in particular? 212-433-WNYC, 433-9692. This is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, A Few Good Men. Oh, yeah, All in the Family.
This guy, and everybody knows it, is always putting this country down. As far as he's concerned, nothing is right unless it's left.
Hey, I happen to believe in this country more than you do.
What was that?
That's right, because I believe it's strong enough to accept some changes.
Well, it ain't gonna accept communism, buddy.
Who's talking about communism? I'm talking about civil rights.
That's communism.
You know something? Your thinking is really Neanderthal.
Listen, if you're gonna talk to me, talk American or clam up.
Rob Reiner and Carol O'Connor in the old classic sitcom All in the Family. With us, Richard Rushfield, chief columnist at the Ankler. Richard, thanks very much for joining us. Sorry under these circumstances. Welcome to WNYC.
Thanks very much for having me.
Let's just dive right into the middle of this. I mean, his acting and directing career spanned such a wide range of genres. When you step back and look at it as a whole, do you see anything as a common thread or the thing that made a Rob Reiner film feel like a Rob Reiner film?
You know, the word that comes up with him, sort of on screen and off, about everything he did, everything he touched, every room he was in, was just humanity. That he just brought such a human, warm presence to everything he did, whether it was as an actor or as a director, or as a writer, or as an activist, and just a presence in Hollywood. And with All in the Family, that which was probably the biggest TV show of the 1970s, at a time when being a big TV show really meant something. It really hinged on that relationship between him as a young professor and his taxi driving father-in-law and Archie Bunker, and how they came to every episode they would find a way to relate and understand each other and have a larger concept of the world, and that is what held that show together. And he carried that through into his directing and his whole life beyond that.
Let's take a remembrance from Jules in Greenpoint. You're on WNYC. Jules, thank you for calling in.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I was probably don't speak for only myself, but I feel like there's a Rob Reiner movie for every decade of my life that's really close, from Princess Bride to most recently him in The Bear. But my big story was that the first day I ever went to school on my own, I took the bus. My dad put me on the bus, and he said, "Have fun storming the castle." And my 11-year-old is just now started to go to school on his own a little bit, and I think of that like every weekday.
So you're thinking like a Rob Reiner movie for every decade of your life.
Yeah, for sure. And now for my kid's life, too.
Yeah. Jules, thank you. Something similar, I think, from Virginia in Midwood. Virginia, you're on WNYC. Thank you for calling. Virginia, you there?
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Your
Should I turn off my radio?
Oh, yeah. Turn off your radio and then go for it with your remembrance of Rob Reiner.
Thank you, Brian. I grew up with All in the Family on the TV, and Meathead was the one that, spoke for us all. He was the voice of reason, so I kind of liked him. And then when I was in college, Spinal Tap came out, and I'd seen all the Beatles movies and the Led Zeppelin movies, and every in-joke was perfect. And I just thought, he can do this too? And then I just continued to like his work. I love Albert Brooks, and he made a movie about him. And I was just, for everybody, I work with kids who struggle with mental illness and addiction and stuff, and I just know a lot of people, and it just seemed like they, as parents, tried really, really hard. And it was just kind of heartbreaking that you can try that hard. And it can just sometimes not work. You can't save your kid.
I hear
That's
you,
all.
Virginia. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I hear how you're relating but to the tragedy. But also the first two callers had a similar theme of Rob Reiner related through so many genres and through so many generations. So here's a little montage from a number of his films, some of the famous lines.
You can't handle the truth.
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
I'll have what she's having.
There we go. So,
Yeah.
Richard, you wanna comment on either the callers or that was less there in the montage than I realized there was going to be, but you still get the idea.
He was almost a classic Hollywood filmmaker, and that's why for a lot of people this is feeling like sort of a passing of old Hollywood. He just was a great storyteller. He wasn't a sort of pompous auteur, but he told these stories with wit and intelligence, and they were dismissed at the time by some as sort of middlebrow, but you can see now they were sort of great storytelling. They never talked down to anyone, and whether it's great rom-com or courtroom drama like A Few Good Men, he just applied with wit and humanity to everything he did, and just touched so many people in so many ways.
Joni in Brooklyn, you're on WNYC. Hi, Joni.
Hi, Brian. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and I just wanted to say I think Rob Reiner is an incredible filmmaker, and I was hoping we'd get another film from him. But I went to photo school with Michele back in the day, Michele Singer.
Uh-huh. You want to say anything about
and
her?
she was a powerhouse, even back then. My friend Sheila and I would hang out with her, and she was a very daring photographer, so I was thrilled when I saw that she was photographing in movies.
Somebody told me that she shot the cover of Trump's book, The Art of the Deal. Do you know that to be true?
Wow. I do not know that to be true.
Joni, thank you for your call. Richard?
Yeah, I believe that that is true. And the famous story that he told also is that he wrote Harry Met Sally. It had a sort of a sad ending of them separating. He was divorced and going through a difficult time, about the impossibility of romantic relationships. And then he met her she was working on the set of it, and fell in love and realized he had to change the ending to a happy ending because he saw that romantic relationships were possible.
And I don't want to ignore Rob Reiner as a public political figure. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you in a second how his activism intersected with his filmmaking, but I think we have to at least mention this, what even a lot of Republicans are calling really grotesque reaction from President Trump when he posted, quote, "A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michele, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome." And it goes on from there. Obviously, there is no reporting that indicates that he died from. The implication there is that he inspired his son to be angry at him because he had Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, oh my God.
I mean, this is such a horrific tragedy of a person who was such a symbol of kindness and decency and warmth to come to such a horrible end. You just can't imagine anything worse. And for anybody to have a reaction like that is just, you just can't imagine that anyone's humanity could be so twisted that would be your response. And to have that come from the President of the United States is just unbelievable.
Who's supposed to be the healer in chief, and what else can we say? So did Rob Reiner's activism intersect with his films?
Yeah, well, I think as later on his activism grew and he was sort of less focused on his filmmaking, but his films are very much about sort of a capital P progressive ideal of government doing good for people and helping others, and he became very involved in that, and he was. As activists go, he was incredibly consequential. He led to a actually got a ballot proposition passed here in California that in the 1990s that raised the cigarette taxes and used the money to fund early education. So he was very consequential and very involved. He was not just a dilettante. He took what he did seriously, and he did it with a real sort of passion and goodness to him.
We have a minute left. Let's see if we can get one or two more callers in with remembrances. Zool in Manhattan. Can you do it in 20 seconds?
I can. Rob's death in the midst of all the violence throughout the world this weekend is heartbreaking and really shows that perhaps, this is all rooted in mental illness and sociopathy. I worked on Harry Met Sally. Rob would never say that. He would say, we made Harry Met Sally. He was gentle, loving, and a real working class hero.
Thank you. And one more, Julio in the Bronx. We have 20 seconds for you.
How are you? It's a pleasure. This is a real big sad moment in Hollywood. My favorite part, though, as a current casting that he did was with Wolf of Wall Street. And it's sad to say that kind of tantalizes with the reality that happened. You had Leonardo DiCaprio, who was his son in that movie, who, again, had his own struggles with success that brought him to parts of his life that, in the story probably wasn't so happy, right?
Right. Thank you very much. Callers, thank you. And Richard Rushfield, chief columnist at The Ankler, which covers the entertainment industry. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.